Okay. Volume wise, I think we are good. Trying a new mic today, so hopefully. Typically through these sessions, I go through a bunch of different questions and ask them. Sorry. Interesting. I get asked a lot of questions that kind of revolve around the same topic. And some companies look at their overall marketing budget to include advertising. Others use it and exclude their advertising. And in 3 different key topics. Okay, and I've laid this out here, as you saw in the thumbnail probably, that the top is the yellow section, and that's ad spend. I'll explain all of this scribbling afterwards, but I thought it'd be great to video. What really matters is the creative. Okay, so depending in terms of how these dollars are allocated. In some cases, it's heavily oriented towards advertising that are being used. The same ads are being used. The product hasn't changed, so the category, the brochures and the catalogs and things changing at all. And so the marketing budget is heavily oriented towards the advertising that's being spent. The distribution is kind of built in, but the product might be changing all the time. So real estate wise, you're probably going to get a lot of leads at open. They'll have their traffic that's coming into their presentation centers to show off their new homes and display suites. The creative portion of it, there needs to be brochures and photo shoots and videos and renderings so those things are heavily weighted towards the cost of the physical setup of this market is a lot less because it's a little bit easier to attract leads. And then we look at how dating for different products or services. That might be something that is showing on. And one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of different clothing companies and accessories, and I love luggage and new products or new styles that are coming out every quarter or limited edition ones. And so depending on who you are and what you do, your creative and your funnel portion of it, this is something that will balance out depending on who is. So this is the biggest topic that I think gets talked about too focused on any one particular part of your overall marketing process to get more sales. On one hand, you can have an excellent impact on your bottom line by focusing on your sales and your sales force and doing training that are incredible at that. Just look at Grant Cardone. He can talk about it just about sales, and that's amazing. There, it impacts your bottom line. Now, on the other hand, there's a lot of people who are talking a lot about Facebook ads and that's the part of it here. Now, if we're looking at just that green section where we're looking at how we're doing the sales, we look at how that funnel is done in between. Now, all of these things require different amounts of creative. For the salesperson, that has to be something that is made. For the funnel itself, without having the copywriting, the testimonials, the ad spend, what we're noticing even more now is how different ads are functioning and performing better. Facebook runs through. It's true for all digital advertising, all social advertising, even all traditional advertising. If you put up perform. Now, it doesn't have to be good in the sense of it being an incredibly large production or a huge scale, but it does have to be good enough to resonate with your audience. Now, this can be something where if you're going after scrap, things a little bit more raw and off the cuff. Whereas if you're going after a business who has 3 or 4 different levels of management and decision, prove everything before you can actually get the sale, they might want something that's a little more polished, or at minimum have more depth. Okay, so up the how should I spend? So here's my rule of thumb in terms of how we build this. As you can see, into the different portions of the funnel and how to impact the top line revenue of any organization. I think what this sale is going to take to do, and really figure out how you're able to get that revenue in the door. Rather than close that first deal, I think that's a waste of advertising dollars, but also 5-10% is something that you really need to figure out from that. Before you're putting a lot of money into your sales and marketing, you really have to go from the bottom up. And who is qualified, what is it going to take for them to close? What's going to take for them to buy? And then be able to look at how is buying, and understanding your best customers. It's okay if that's also your only customers. But this, take your existing customers that you like working with because they're profitable, they're easy to work with. Understand why people are for your business, good for your overall brand, and a good fit for your product. And then you can look at what those people or companies make up. We're not all your traits between all to go after all parents. There's a lot of parents that you can find. While those different parents are all different, the young kids, they are probably sleep deprived, like the bags under my eyes. There's always a lot of things you can find that are commonalities to reach. Okay, so here's where I think there's a big opportunity that is missed. How you won't necessarily be ideal to get the funnel working and understand how to get more putting the time, whether that's adding more content to your website, whether that's FAQs, working on your on-page SEO and understanding pages, how you could boost your different categories or how your products are sorted together, what testimonials might need, build out more information on blog posts that would answer frequently asked questions, and a lot that you can understand on how to make your funnel stronger. Once you start looking at actual landing advertising, or even your traditional advertising are going, then you're able to look at how can you supercharge your funnel and get more advertising. Okay, now your advertising budget is suddenly going to be a little bit easier to figure out, more understanding of who you're trying to go after, which means you can be more specific on what platform and what audience information you. This could be something that your business has seasonality to it, and advertising all year round might not make sense if you're more business. Advertising in the winter probably is a little bit less than productive unless you're doing snow removal as well. There's a lot of opportunities for you to understand how to spend your ad dollars better if you work your funnel from before we jump off here, I had a client that I was working with who initially reached out and said a year old. It was already responsive. It was and it seemed to represent their product well. It was a little bit too technical. You could download product brochures, but there was no product. Spent the first couple of days working with him and his team and started to talk about how their process was when he doing in leads. And it turned out that their sales process was actually the problem. It wasn't them getting leads at wage-based and finding qualified customers. Their problem was being able to close. And one of the key parts that sales cycle. So when they were reaching out to people, it was too late. And in the industry that they were in, their supplier, and they were looking at, when somebody had started the construction timeline. Hey, do you need our product? But in reality, because their spec was so specific, they really need designers way ahead of that process, because by the time everyone was on site and under construction, they already had all of the details in place of what it was, something that they could have changed on the marketing side that would have helped them immediately. It was something that they needed, coaching our prospective customers earlier in their project life cycle so that we can get our foot in the door. It meant for a salesperson an ongoing business, because instead of having to get that architect to change the spec, they were thinking about that in the initial design. So that's where they had a sales problem. It wasn't a marketing problem. Sure, they could have kept going with more advertising. The last thing, but actually just touched on something else. It is very tempting for a lot of companies anything and see what sticks and see what you can move today. Okay, it's easy to spend your way to get leads. Unless you're coming in. Okay, that's twofold. One part of it is, do you have a strong enough call to action that somebody would be or add and be able to become a lead? Okay, so I have a good example of this. Company, and we were working with them. They were building services, so they did property management business model. Any lead that came in, it was clear that they would be getting the exact same package that they offered, today. Change their offering. So they figured that they could just get more ads by putting a boatload of money into advertising. That was something that was out there. It was really challenging for them to actually convert and capture some of those leads. And that were saying, hey, I heard your ad on the radio, was really great. And people were remembering their name. They typically had the person that was buying from them listen to the ad, remember their name. They didn't really function very well. And so they were actually finding them on Yelp and then calling. So it's your head being like, why did you guys advertise? Like, this makes no sense. You put a lot of money, like over $10,000 a month, into your advertising. Capture this properly, because your website didn't support you. Your SEO was so poor, you didn't do any paid advertising. You did that would allow you to capture leads better. I'm sure you left a lot of people stranded. You probably could have gotten 2 to 3 times as many leads you, because they didn't jump through all the hoops that those other people did. So imagine this. And this is what we ended up your company and you were to say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to advertise, we're going to tell our message, and it works. But people listening to the radio, they end up going home, opening up their computer, going on Google, remembering that they actually have to look you up, which is somewhat unique. So they're able to identify that it actually is yours, your company, not someone else. And clicking on throws up the reputation and then calling you. Okay, because they couldn't remember your phone numbers, 10 digits, these 4 steps in order for you to be able to actually talk to them before they could even buy. It's crazy. Instead, being able to, just a landing page, and being able to have a memorable URL, like I heard you on the radio.com. Oh, remember that, push that in and get that straight to the website. Excuse me. Get straight to the phone and call. So it's something to think about when you have that example. I'll show this for the last time. You have the property services company. They put ad spend in and they left a lot of people hanging because they didn't know if they were going to be able to actually get in touch with everyone or if they'd actually follow through here. A one simple page website allowed them to go from here to here without and we will talk. Email me, Chris@chrismilton.ca. Talk to you soon.